is hereby granted to the petitioners if need be. The respondents will be at liberty to file their responses and or amend their responses as once served. On the prayer for leave to lodge the documents physically, we have balanced the submissions made by the parties, and for the abundance of caution, we direct that parties shall continue filing their documents electronically. However, should they find any challenges, they are at liberty to lodge physical copies by delivering the same to the Deputy Registrar, Constitutional and Human Rights Division. On the request for a mention on 18th of October 2024, we declined the prayer for the reasons that it is speculative, and in any event, the parties have the liberty to move court at any time. However, the court is alive to the fact that there are pending substantive petitions in this matter. To that end, the court should give directions for the hearing of the consolidated petitions. As such, this matter will be mentioned on 29th of October 2024 at 2:30 p.m. in open court with liberty to appear virtually. That's the ruling of the court. Yeah, most of it.
That is presiding Judge Eric Ogola. They are giving further directions on the consolidated petition seeking to stop the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And with us in studio here, we have governance analyst Javas Bigamba. Javas, give us the legal breakdown of what just took place in the court, considering the court already gave, a green light that the process can continue unhindered.
Well, first, the court has been and is alive to the fact that it has restrained itself from injuncting Senate from conducting the proceedings as laid out procedurally by the Constitution. So which means that the Senate has got the free hand to carry out the process of determining the charges facing the Deputy President to the logical conclusion, which logical conclusion therefore means that after Rigathi Gachagua avails himself before the Senate with the evidence against the charges, and National Assembly as well, of course, tabling the charges to which Rigathi has to respond, and then the trial process of evaluating this evidence, the senators asking pertinent questions in the process, and then in the end, taking a vote on every particular charge, and then determining whether Rigathi Gachagua stands impeached on any of the charges, whether all or even a single one, which therefore the outcome would be affirming the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua as was determined by the National Assembly. What the court also has done with utmost clarity is that it is alive to the numerous petitions that have been filed in the interest of justice on the instant issues that are facing Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua about his ouster from office by way of impeachment. And of course, the court has also indicated that there was lots of speculation. What, in fact, when the ruling was rendered yesterday, that the court was afraid about the reality of forum shopping being material. And so looking at it, the court has also declined to issue such injunction and also to allow the petition by Rigathi Gachagua and the various other petitions. And all the consolidated petitions, therefore, are going to be heard as a matter of priority, given that this is a matter of great public interest. Yeah.
All right, and so that is something we'll definitely keep an eye on. So as we wait for the Senate to come out and begin that ouster bid, of course, is, the events of the day as will happen. We'll have the Senate reading out the charges to the Deputy President. He'll be asked how he pleads, whether he pleads guilty or not guilty. We'll have senators and both sides really giving their submissions. But let's talk about how this process ends. And there's a lot of speculation for that window, because the Senate has made it clear that it will probably take this vote at about 8:30 p.m. Thursday, which is tomorrow evening. And so many are asking then, what window with timelines does the Deputy President have to sort of, perhaps move to the court, as did the Meru Governor, Kawira Mwangaza, because we are hearing of a lot of urgency, possibly really gazetting this as soon as the Senate makes that decision. So, Kathy, let's talk about that window and whether the Deputy President might be able to beat that window, beat the Senate to perhaps the courts before they gazette that decision, should they hold the impeachment?
First of all, let's admit that between today and tomorrow, there's going to be very limited or no time at all for, to entertain, politics. Let me just call it politics, or those political gimmicks. Let me call it that way. And if it goes as per the speculation that we've been discussing here this morning, the four of us, then we'll have a new deputy president within another maybe 48 hours or something. I think he still has time to move to court. That does not stop him from moving to court to seek redress, and I expect him to do that. Rigathi Gachagua is known to be a fighter, and therefore I expect him to do that. But then that might actually now present another complication, because the seat will have an occupant, and now he's going to court to defend himself. So I think the lawyers, especially my friend here, Gikonyo, need to tell us what that means for the future of Kenya, because I expect him, honestly, to move to court. All
right, and we'll be speaking about that because the timelines are very tight. We have a holiday coming up on Monday. But let's listen in to Ibrahim Karanja. He's been live at the Milimani Law Courts as that three-judge bench gives its ruling on those 29 petitions filed against the impeachment of the Deputy President. Karanja, the court has made its decision, has pronounced itself on the issue of separation of powers. What more can you tell us from the ground?
Well, it appears now that the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, will continue battling it out at the Senate like had been directed earlier by the courts here. But what has also become clear is that the mention that lawyers representing the petitioners, including the Deputy President, to appear before the courts for a mention on Friday, the 18th, has also been declined. Remember, the lawyers wanted to come back immediately upon the Senate's conclusion of business Thursday night, because earlier the courts indicated that it would be preempting on whatever outcome will come from the Senate, and the lawyers were sure that by Thursday night, then the Senate will have concluded its business and that it would have been best for them to appear before the three-judge bench on Friday morning. But that has since been declined by the three-judge bench led by Justice Eric Ogola and, of course, comprising Lady Justice Freda Mugambi and Justice Anthony Mrima. What also has been rejected by or at least granted by the courts, is that the parties can amend the petitions or the particular petitions that they had here in court, and this will be in light of the developments that will have come from the Senate, because perhaps we will be speaking about a very different matter. We'll be speaking about a matter of an already impeached Deputy President by the time the parties will be reappearing before the three-judge bench. So the judges have then allowed the parties to amend the petition, and in declining to grant them a mentioned date on the 18th, the court has indicated that all parties will come back before them on the 29th of October for directions on hearing of the matter. And this clearly shows that Parliament will have to go through its process, and whatever follows will also have taken place by the time the court will be sitting on the 29th of October. However, the court has also directed that should the parties feel that they need fresh applications or to make, to reappear here, then they are free to come. But on the mention that they wanted for Friday, which was immediately upon the Senate's conclusion of business, that has been declined. And all eyes, like I said, are in Parliament or in the Senate for the impeachment proceedings against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The Senate is free to continue. I have already seen in the order paper of the National Assembly today, part of what will be coming before the National Assembly is a request by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah to have the National Assembly sit on Friday. What that means to this entire development is a wait and see. There is that request, and clearly members of parliament or members of the National Assembly who intend to go on recess as from next week on the 22nd want to sit on Friday the 18th to conclude what I've seen in the order paper, important business that will be before them on Friday. So very busy 3 days in Parliament from today, Wednesday through Thursday and Friday. Wednesday and Thursday being very busy days in the Senate in regards to the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and the National Assembly hoping to sit on Friday to discuss important business as is in the order paper or in the motion that is being pushed by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah. Meanwhile, the parties will be coming back to court, like I said earlier, on the 29th of October. Today being the 16th, we're speaking about 13 days from now. So next week, but one, is when the parties in these consolidated petitions that are challenging the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua will be coming back for directions. So very busy days, they say. A lot can happen in the days to come. It is a wait and see, even as we move from here at the Milimani Law Courts now to the Senate to follow the proceedings that are ongoing there.
Ibrahim Karanja is live for us at the Milimani Law Courts, where action began this morning with that 3-judge bench of the High Court giving a ruling on the impeachment against the Deputy President. And the Deputy President's future now hangs in the balance as he navigates his challenging political landscape. The stakes now are higher than ever as he fights to remain in office. Remember, the outcome of this impeachment trial in the Senate could have significant implications for the country and even for the Kenya Kwanza administration, setting history, making this the first deputy president to be impeached in Kenya's history, and also many, many implications for the Kenya Kwanza administration and the broader dynamics of politics in the country. Who will be the next deputy president? Where will they come from? What does that mean for the ruling Kenya Kwanza administration? And we have experts here in studio to put all of that into context. And Gikonyo, let me just come to you, with that question of what are the options now after the court just, pretty much killed that what looked like this last silver lining for the deputy president? What options does the DP have after the trial ends? And that is where the speculation comes in, the timelines. Is there enough time with all the political intrigues? Will he manage to save himself through the courts again?
I think at this point, Parliament wants to exert its authority on matters national, such as the impeachment of the deputy president. And so they will have put into play everything it takes to succeed in that quest. And so he's going to be working against a formidable opponent. And therefore going to court may help him one way or the other, but I do not see how that will change should the impeachment go through. It's not going to change much. I'm not sure what options remain. I think that window closed between yesterday and this morning, and therefore it's up to him and his team to determine whether to go forward with the challenges to the impeachment in court or not. It is in his right to do so. He should exercise it, but I'm not sure that it'll save, again, the repercussions or consequences of this process.
Bigambo, your closing comments as we make way for the Senate.
Well, the potency of Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment has got the weight of resetting politics in the country and even reorganizing the political plates tectonics within UDA particularly. And even as we take note that he has arrived at the Senate for purposes of seeing how to defend himself, I consider it just like the golden plaque on a coffin. It does not raise the dead, however golden it is. So the process that he is facing right now is monumental. I cannot imagine what he's going through right now. And I think for the DP, as he's facing a historical moment, he's also helping the country face a historical moment. Altogether, this country is facing the history, this new history, united together. We are one nation, and let no person, no political party, or no region take anything personal or think that somebody is being persecuted politically for particular tribal sentiments. But I think it is a moment for us to rejuvenate, pull our socks from around the anklets and say once more that we are leading democracy, in this East African peninsula, on this continent, and that the future of Kenya is even greater and better when we stand together as a people.
All right, and so we wait and watch as that impeachment ouster motion in the Senate takes place. As we speak, senators have been holed up in a closed-door meeting that is set to lay the groundwork for the proceedings today, allowing senators to discuss the rules as well as introduce key players who include members and lawmakers from the National Assembly. So let me just run you through some of these. Some of those who will be represented from the National Assembly include prominent figures who represent the impeachment motion. So that is the Kibezi West MP, Mwengi Mutuse, who is the motion's mover. We also have the likes of Rarieda MP, Otiende Amolo, who is JLEC chairperson, George Murugara, as well as Homa Bay Town legislator, Peter Kaluma. And so following that preliminary session, the meeting they are in now, the clerk of the Senate will read the charges, the 11 charges against the deputy president from 10:30 to 11 a.m., so any moment from now. And then he will ask the DP whether he pleads guilty or not. Remember, the DP is already present at Parliament buildings ready for this. And after this, both sides will then have 30 minutes for their opening statements, with main hearings then to follow. And this is where Kenyans will be looking to follow keenly, as the National Assembly will be allocated 3 hours to present their case against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. 2 hours after that, the DP will have 2 hours to then cross-examine his accusers. And this is a critical moment that could shape the outcome of the hearing. This did not take place in the National Assembly. And so the DP will cross-examine his accusers with regard to those 11 grounds. Later on in the day, at about 7:30 p.m., the Senate will adjourn, or to be the first day of this historic impeachment ouster against the Deputy President, and convene tomorrow, another make-or-break day when the Senate will take that all-important vote on the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. We endeavor to keep you as informed as we can as these issues develop here in the country. So let me give you your final comments, Kathy. Of course, as the Senate, any moment from now on, comes and reads out those 11 charges to the Deputy President. He's already pleaded not guilty to them before. You know, any chance he could have a change of mind? Maybe he's gone through them and said, I could have been guilty on this one. Are you expecting anything different?
No.
Rigathi
Gachagua is a fighter, so I expect him to fight on. But I think for me, my parting shot as we wind up this session, which was actually very good, it was an honor, thank you very much, is just to remind the people of Mulima, where I also come from, that it is not a community under trial. It is actually an individual who is on trial. And we allow the process to continue. Let's maintain peace. And let's all remember that we can only build a better Kenya, and that should be our focus right now, Kenya Moja. And we also remember that we still need to work. Whatever the outcome, we need to continue working, and we need to continue doing good.
Absolutely. I mean, economic prosperity really needs to be part of the focus. Gikonyo, your closing comments.
I would say that we live in a great country, and we are taking these processes as we ought to. We saw recently the skirmishes on the streets, people agitating for change and so on, without consideration to the Constitution and processes. We do not want to burn our country. We do not want to destroy the infrastructure that has taken blood to build. And therefore, following this Constitution as our base mark, if you will, saying that this is what the law says, and making changes to the Constitution where necessary as we go forward. But in the meantime, working with what is on the table. So respecting institutions, accepting rulings, and going forward, knowing that you can be snared. There's a verse that says that if you have a conflict with someone and he wants to take you to the judge, make peace with him before you get to the judge, because the judge could send you to the officer. So what I'm saying is that let's try and find legal ways to minimize these conflicts. Let's follow the law. Let's adhere to it and do our very best to continue building our country. We have a great country. We see it. Everybody else sees it. But sometimes in our political agitation, we want to throw everything out without consideration to the effects of our decisions. So I would like to wish the Deputy President well in his quest to fight the the charges, and also wish the Senate well in its ability to dispense a fair trial.
Absolutely, and all eyes are on the 67-member Senate this morning as Kenyans look to see whether they will accord the Deputy President a fair and just trial. Let's take a break here on NTV. We'll be back with that wall-to-wall coverage as the Senate begins that ouster motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. You've been here with political analyst Stephen Gikonyo, Kathy Irungu, as well as the governance analyst Javas Bigambo on this historic morning for the country. And as Javas says, history will be made today, whether we like it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, many, many thanks for your time this morning. And many thanks to you for being with us this morning. My name is Michelle Ngele Odhiambo. Do stay with us.
Rigathi Gachagua. Hii serikali tulitafuta na shida mingi sana. Hatuwezi kubali mtu haribu.
Kenyans will be shocked.
Hiyo ikulu nimeweka mitego kila kona, kila kona. Hapo iko kibarua.
291 members of this National Assembly pended their signatures in support of this motion.